Everybody, this is Perch. So one of the news stories that went on last week, I don't know, at some point in the recent past, is Ta-Nehisi Coates is wrapping up his Black Panther run, and and his Captain America run. They're both wrapping up. And as he's leaving Marvel, he made some comments. Basically, it's hard to exactly know the origin point to what got him on this train of thought, but more decent odds that it was Ed Brubaker making a comment about how he received more money from some kind of sideways side kind of bit project than he got for Captain America: Civil War. I think more money and more recognition. It wasn't just about the cash. There was another piece to it too. He just got treated better, basically, off of this small thing as opposed to this movie that made close to $1 billion. Close to $1 billion, actually not quite that much. The Winter Soldier movie made $750 million, I think. I think around 750. I may be wildly off. It made a lot of money. Put it this way. I mean, it went past the a lot of money into kind of ludicrous money at some point. So Ta-Nehisi Coates, basically, who finished up Captain America, comments that he thinks that creators basically are treated poorly at Marvel. And what he was referring to is this idea that, you can create amazing ideas. You can create, groundbreaking stories that are adapted into billion-dollar movies, and you can be unknown. He didn't directly name names, or at least I don't think he did in the interview. I don't recall. I read it, but now I don't remember. I think I would have picked up on it. Where we've had creators who have died basically penniless and alone, and their creations have been turned into hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars. Now, to be fair and to be clear, when you're a creator, you're doing work for hire, you do sign a contract, and the company is under no legal obligation to pay you. That is the nature of an independent contractor agreement and freelance work. And it's not like these publishers basically promised, like Ed Brubaker, hey, we'll give you $100 million if you ever make a movie. And then they made a movie like, sorry, who are you again? We don't. No, they lived up to the terms of their agreement. The argument that Ta-Nehisi Coates is making is basically that, hey, if you do, even though you paid what the person is owed, even though you fulfilled the terms of the agreement, for the betterment of the creator and the people who imagined these universes, you should throw them some extra money. You should do better by them. You should do better. Now he didn't, like I said, he didn't mention, but there have been artists, tragically, who have died alone, looking like they starved to death. There's a very ugly story around which you heard if you listened to the Richard Pace interview, and it was painful it was just painful to hear. So the fact that you do have these creators who are creating things that, yes, they are on work for hire for the company, and yes, they were paid what they were owed, for a sense of just health as a society, it seems a little broken that these creations can be making billions of dollars, and the people are often forgotten. How you come down on that is kind of up to you. I think that they're, once again, like I said, and like I'm sure some people point out in the comments, yeah, but that person signed the contract. Absolutely, they did. No doubt about it. They did sign the contract. They did. It was true. But I think that point is valid. I think it's there. This is an industry where you have a very, very, short leash on a lot of these creators, people who do make comics and can go from, writing the biggest titles to completely MIA in the course of a year. That does seem a little broken. It does seem wrong that you have, you do have creators who, you're later able to profit off of their work in ways you didn't imagine, and you do nothing for those creators. Nothing being, you don't even give them additional work. And there's plenty of cases of artists and writers who have not, left under controversy. They're not, they were a good company man or woman. They did their job, and they got to the end of their contract and they said, okay, bye bye. And years have gone by and they'd love to do more work, but the company can't be bothered to call them. Meanwhile, they'll pump out trades or other things with their work, and in some cases go, oh yeah, I don't have to pay any royalties, so they don't. That's happened, and I think that's wrong. That's my opinion. You're well. Again, this is one of those cases where if you feel the opposite, I'm not upset with you. I think you're welcome to that opinion because, again, legally they were paid what they were owed. But I think more can be done. That's kind of the point Ta-Nehisi Coates was trying to make in his comments. Unfortunately, and this is the part where, I guess I feel a little, this is the side-eyed frown I give to Coates, is in theory, he knew about this a year ago, 2 years ago. He was active on the title. He was, his books weren't selling the best. We've looked at the numbers. They weren't top sellers, but he was still a name that Marvel continuously and repeatedly used in their comics. They would always point out that Coates was on the book. They would do press releases about Coates. They would make sure that in the trades and the other things, they talk about his groundbreaking run. Marvel leveraged Coates' name continuously. They were getting something out of that deal. And it would have been nice if Coates could have remembered to stand up for artist rights or creator rights 2 years ago when he was still active in the company. But now he's ended his run. He's walking out the door. He's done with Marvel. And now suddenly he is like, those guys could be treating people better. You're always at a better position to have your words have more merit and more credibility if you're in the company at the time. Now, for smaller creators, people like a Chelsea Cain or a Sina Grace. Now, Chelsea Cain has a career, and Sina Grace, a lot of people forget that he was the editor of Walking Dead and Invincible and a lot of other things. But regardless, Coates is a bigger name than both of those two. He is somebody who, if he was to give an interview on CNN or MSNBC or Fox, MSNBC or CNN, that he could have said, yeah, I'm enjoying doing this stuff for Marvel, but they should treat their creators better. He would have had a platform while he was in the company, and he would have had more. It would have been harder for Marvel to ignore him because they were paying him, they were employing him, they were using his name to promote stuff. But instead, he waited until he was done with the company. Then he made his comments, which pretty much guarantee they've already been forgotten. It's the thing. It's a week later, and it's gone. And this is why it keeps happening. We need somebody who's a big name, whether it's Joss Whedon when he was on X-Men, or Coates, or John Ridley's on the comics now. We need somebody who is actively writing the comics, and Ridley would be an excellent choice right now. He is currently writing a Batman book for DC, about to write Black Panther for Marvel. He's in both companies writing, books with bigger characters in them. Now would be the time. Please, John Ridley, 3 years from now, when you wrap your run up, or 2 years from now, or 1 year from now, or 2 months, or whatever your run wraps up, don't wait until then to point out that some of this stuff should be fixed. Because at that point, you're very little is going to happen. Do it now. Do it right now while the company is actively using your name to give themselves credibility for, oh, look at this. We're a company that values creative talents. I mean, part of what they did with Coates was to promote the fact that they are getting the best creative talents, that they're getting world-renowned names like Ta-Nehisi Coates to write their book. They're using your name for their publicity. Your leverage is when you're with the company and they're actively using your name to sell books. That's the time, not later. Again, the Chelsea Cain, Sina Grace. I mean, Sina Grace would like to work other places in comics, so it's a little harder from while he was within Marvel to crap on Marvel. It's much more difficult. He would have he does not have a a writer of the Superman movie gig to fall back on. I don't know. I think the comments that Coates made were legitimate for me. I think there's merit to it. I think it's a conversation that needs to be had, and I think it's reasonable. I don't care if Coates said it versus anyone said it. Whoever says these things doesn't really matter. What's the content of the words? I'm gonna judge these things by the words spoken, and these words spoken ring true to me. Now, again, maybe not to you, and that's fine. My issue with it is, why not while you're within the company? That would have been the time. So let me know your thoughts if you agree or disagree. And then kind of two separate topics here. You agree or disagree around kind of greater recognition and payment. Again, outside of the contract, meaning, are they owed a bonus? And maybe it's not, are they owed a bonus? Is giving a bonus the right thing to do? Maybe that's a better way to put it. Do you agree or disagree with that? And then separate from that is, when's the right time to say this kind of stuff? When you're in the company and you're active, or after you've walked out the door, shut it behind you, and got a few steps down the street? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for listening.